Is it possible to coexist peacefully with a narcissist in the same household? And what if that person is actively gaslighting and manipulating you? How do you deal with that? Living with a narcissist is hard enough when we're not dealing with a pandemic. But here we are in an international crisis. One of the things that I have heard from so many survivors and thrivers is, what about the people who are still stuck at home with narcissists during this lockdown situation? Whether you're officially locked down or not, this is an issue. So how do you coexist with a narcissist if you must? That's exactly what we're talking about today at queenbeing.com. So let's get started. So you're living with a narcissist who's all about him or herself. I'm sure by now you probably understand your role as narcissistic supply pretty thoroughly, right? Your job as narcissistic supply is to be the constant cheerleader, caregiver, scapegoat, and occasionally the emotional dumpster. Of course, you also understand on the flip side that narcissists aren't really capable of giving any genuine emotional support, especially not to their primary source of supply, unless they want something from you. And in fact, most often they make things much worse than they actually are. And this is probably especially true during this coronavirus situation. In fact, you might be dealing with a narcissist in your home who's making it all about him or her and not anything else. The truth is, living with a narcissist is like living with someone who's constantly working against every single thing you are, every single thing you do, every single thing you want, every single thing you have. But now that we are here in this situation where we are forced to be in our homes and you may not be able to find another place right away, how do you live with them? Obviously, the first and best choice is to not live with them, is to find somewhere else to go. But given our current circumstances, that might be a little harder. During this time, you can expect that the narcissist will continue to manipulate you, and their manipulation may take a whole new turn, which means that the gaslighting and sneaky behaviors and other narcissistic tendencies might become more of a way of life for you than it ever has been before, and that's very difficult to deal with. You'll have all the little mind games, just like always. In fact, they might intensify during this time. For example, the narcissist might say something to you like, well, look at the choices you've made, or this is all your fault. And what that really means is that I gave you some bit of advice and you didn't take it, so therefore you're wrong, or you're deserving of your pain. They might imply that whatever it is that you didn't do that they told you to do or told you not to do is the reason that they are causing trouble for you in the house. They might imply that in some way their treatment of you is your fault. They might tell you that it makes you less worthy of concern or less worthy of any thought at all. They might imply that the only way you could possibly get their respect again is to spend months trying to prove yourself to them or trying to somehow, win back their respect and their loyalty. Doing what you're told, becoming the person you're supposed to be according to them. It's a process, earning back a narcissist's trust, right? But under no circumstances will they let that speed up. It's part of the game. What do you do? Like I said, you already know my first and preferred answer of no contact, but again, I recognize that is not an option for everybody right now, especially in the short term, since life is as it is. How do you get through coexisting with a narcissist? Well, you start here. First, focus on educating yourself if you haven't done that already, which I'm sure you have, and you can check out the videos that I'm leaving for you in the description below for additional information on how to deal with this person. Now, as you're educating yourself, use the facts that you know about narcissists to your advantage to go through this time with this person. Understanding that narcissists by nature are incredibly similar people is going to help you a lot right now. Because even though I haven't actually located a physical playbook for them yet, it's pretty clear based on the response to videos I've made about narcissists and the fact that since I've been talking about narcissists for a long time, 10, 15 years now, the niche has blown up and now there are hundreds or thousands of people talking about it. We know this is a common issue. If you stop and you look at it like a scientist, recognizing that this invisible playbook exists, recognizing that all narcissists, regardless of their age or their income level or their race or their country or their religion, they all have similar behaviors, that's got to tell you something. It's not about you. Those insults, all that gaslighting, all of the projection, any other psychological messing with your head tactics they use, not your fault. Not about you. It's really about something that's broken inside that person, the narcissist. Please hear me when I'm telling you there's nothing wrong with you. When you can stop and you can pull back and you can look at it like a scientist and you can tell yourself, okay, that's gaslighting, or that's projection, or that's this type of manipulation, whatever it is, sometimes it distances you enough emotionally that you can almost feel sorry for them for being so obvious. Don't really feel sorry for them. But during this time, if you take the time to, in your mind, categorize those behaviors in the same way that a scientist would, that might really help you stay kind of on kilter. Now, if you have a narcissist who tends to ignore you, make sure you have plenty of things to keep yourself busy with. If you have a narcissist that wants every second of your time, just be careful to stay calm as much as you can. Take any free minute that you can to breathe and be away from them. And maybe, come up with a project that keeps you busy if that's something that they will allow. I know some of them just need your undivided attention every second they're around, and that is exhausting. And this is when I would tell you to just little tiny bits of self-care any chance you get, even if it means that you stay up late and you sleep in a little bit during this time in order to maximize your peace time. Something to think about. During this time, understand that any emotion that you express to or near the narcissist needs to be not anything that's going to cause narcissistic injury. So you need to be thinking about either saying nice things about the narcissist, so something that praises the narcissist, or something that is in defense of the narcissist's thoughts, feelings, ideas, possessions, and or general existence. If you can't figure out a way to express your thoughts in that way, maybe it's best to keep them to yourself. I mean, if you want to keep your peace and sanity intact for now. You and I both know that if you go outside of those boundaries when you're communicating with a narcissist, if you're ever trying to criticize them, even if it's constructive, or you're trying to share information that doesn't make them feel really good about themselves, sometimes they're going to make you regret it, and sometimes they'll make you wish you never said it. So be very selective in actual information you communicate to them. The best thing you can do is let them talk and just agree with them, or at least don't disagree if possible. Save yourself the trouble and talk to someone else, even if it's just in a private journal, or you jump on social media, you go to the Facebook span groups, or you go to one of our off Facebook groups, or you show up in the morning chat here on this channel. Just find someone else to talk to if you have things that you need to express that don't make the narcissist feel really good about themselves. Understand that if you're down, the narcissist is likely to kick you, and I mean that proverbially speaking. The narcissist will not comfort you as a normal person would, so try not to expect that. What you're doing here is you're going in with appropriately low expectations. You're not going to change this person. They are going to, if they are at all extroverted, they're going to become stir crazy. They're going to be bored all the time. If they're more of a covert type, well, things might get a little better, but probably you're going to spend a lot of time in isolation, because a lot of the covert types kind of leave you hanging a lot of the time. And so they might be in the same house, but acting like you don't exist, almost like a silent treatment. Again, in that case, I would find plenty of things to keep myself busy, even if it means, redecorating or writing a novel or getting involved with support groups, maybe planning your escape in the future, whatever it takes. If you are in a position where you absolutely must express something to the narcissist that you know is not going to go over very well, something that isn't within their spectrum of tolerance, do it in a way that makes the narcissist feel like they have some control over the situation. So for example, let's say that you have a service person coming to the house and you're not feeling well and you don't want to risk that service person getting sick. So maybe you say to the narcissist, listen, I know that it's my job to be there when the service person shows up, but honestly, honey, I'm just not as smart about this stuff as you are, and I want to make sure that we get the best deal, or I want to make sure that things are done right, and I know that you can help with that better than I can. If you come at them in a way that lifts them up, they're more likely to do what you want. When you use this tactic with the narcissist, where you let them feel like they are the ones who need to do the thing because they're the only ones who are capable of doing the thing, this offers them some supply, narcissistic supply. It gives them the feeling that they're better than you, smarter than you, and more capable than you, and they love that. It lets them know that not only are you not as good as them, but also that you're aware of it and willing to admit it out loud. None of that is true, but that's irrelevant, because the bottom line is that the narcissist doesn't care what's true. The narcissist only wants their ego to be stroked. Do you understand? Another thing that you can do is always be in gray rock mode with the narcissist. In this case, only when they're doing what isn't okay with you. So if they're manipulating you, if they're gaslighting you, if they're tearing you down, don't give them any of your emotion. During this time, though, it might benefit you if you're stuck in this house with this person to sort of at least pretend to respond to the love bombing and the hoovering attempts that they might, send out your way when gray rock doesn't work. And if you do, be careful and don't let it reach your heart. Just be nice as much as you can stand to be. Recognize what you're dealing with and recognize that you're trying to keep the peace as long as you can in this situation. And remember, if you are in a situation where the peace cannot be kept or you are in physical danger or anything like that, shelters are still open right now and you can still get some help. Don't keep yourself in a dangerous situation because of what's going on. Because the fact of the matter is that the narcissist can and will do anything they can to make it more difficult for you. And this situation, it's causing so much tension in the world that the narcissist will feel some level of pressure just simply because they're being told they have to stay home alone, not to mention all the other stuff. So just keep in mind that if you are in any physical danger, it could get worse right now. Even if you fear for your physical safety, but you're not sure they're going to do anything, please be careful and try to find a way out sooner rather than later. Even if you go stay with a friend who's okay with that or a family member who you trust. You could even frame that for the narcissist in a way like, well, how about if the kids and I go stay over at, Becky's house, because that way you won't get sick or whatever. But that's not always going to work with the narcissist because they will want your supply during this time. But it's a possibility for some, maybe especially the covert types. Remember this, narcissists are sort of wired to push your buttons anyway, and during this difficult time, they're definitely going to be in there pushing. If they're going silent on you, recognize that this is because they're trying to make you feel abandoned in a way, and with the current situation being what it is, that's going to be more common than you think. If you are dealing with the silent treatment while you're still in the same house with this person during this time, this is what you're going to do. First of all, try to see it from a new perspective. At least you're not going through constant arguments and fighting and tearing down. Secondly, use this as a time to focus on something that's good for yourself. Thirdly, remember that this is a game of control for the narcissist. The only way to win it is for you to take back your power and refuse to respond. I'm talking about gray rock to the extreme, meaning you just go on and do whatever you would normally do, whether that person is here in the house or not. You continue your life. I know it's harder to continue your life when you're stuck in the same house under almost quarantine or maybe actual quarantine. But if you do what you would normally do and blatantly ignore the silent treatment behavior, even if that means that they're sitting in a chair and you're putting food in front of them and you're like, oh, how's your dinner, honey? And they say nothing, continue on as though they said something. Oh, okay. Move right on. Keep smiling, keep shining. And blatantly ignore this behavior no matter how upset the narcissist gets, because what will happen is eventually they're going to get tired of no one reacting to them, and they're going to actually start making an effort to probably reach you a different way. And often that comes in the form of the Hoover, where they're trying to suck you back in, and that during this time might be preferable to the silent treatment or manipulation or gaslighting or anything like that. So if you're in that situation, don't send the narcissist texts on their phone trying to reason with them. Don't put stuff on Facebook about how sad you are about the relationship or the situation. Don't allow the narcissist to know that they're affecting you at all, in any way. And make sure that you don't give them what they want when they behave this way, because this is exactly what they're looking for. They want a confrontation. They want drama. They want all of that. So if you just cut that off, you're golden. When they realize they're not breaking your heart, they're going to try something different. And while this does not solve the problem, it might at least eliminate that behavior in that moment and have them try something new. All right, now this brings me to the question of the day. And the question of the day is, are you stuck at home with a narcissist right now, and how are you managing? How are you doing? Any tips or ideas you might offer for your fellow survivors? Share your thoughts, share your ideas, share your experiences in the comment section below, and let's talk about it. As always, thank you so much for being a part of my day and a part of my life. And hey, thanks for letting me be a part of yours. It really does mean a lot to me. I'll see you soon.